Are you a self-storage owner or operator looking for service providers to help at your facility? Well, the Storage Business Owners Alliance, also known as the SBOA, has you covered. The SBOA is the premier online hub for connecting self-storage owners and operators to industry-leading products and service providers. We provide one-stop shopping for your business with exclusive offers to save time and money. At the SBOA, we believe by coming together, we help owners and operators grow revenue, gain purchasing power, reduce expenses, improve efficiencies, and increase profitability. We also offer many resources such as our conferences and self-storage unlock webinars to help self-storage owners and operators gain the knowledge needed to become more competitive in the industry. To become an SBOA member or to find out more information, please visit www.thesboa.com today. We can't wait for you to join the Alliance.
Tell us why you love self-storage. Come join us.
I love self-storage.
Yeah.
It's just become a part of my life. It really has. More than a career, because most of my good friends have come from self-storage. It's been such a blessing.
Yeah.
You know, not just a career blessing, but a blessing in life as well.
I love self-storage because of the people and the energy that they bring. I don't think I've ever seen an industry that's just this passionate about what they do, and there's always just something fun and exciting going on.
I'm so grateful. The community, the ISS, the SSA, all the associations have been, amazing. The friendships, and I have the privilege of again traveling to a lot of the state shows and the national shows. And again, it's just the community here is great, such as yourself, and this SBOA team has been amazing since they've come on the scene. I see a lot of amazing people doing amazing things, and it really inspires me to keep going.
To me, it's the people and the vendors and everything around. A lot of competitors, a lot of different solutions, things are growing in the industry, but everybody is here to help each other.
Yeah.
But what I like the most is, I think, the innovation. It's amazing. I love the innovation, and I really like the people.
Yeah.
That's what I like.
I love the people in this business.
Yeah.
There are so many good-hearted, true blue, nice people here.
Yeah.
The other people here who do what we do are our friends.
Yeah.
I love the fact that people need stuff, and the more stuff that they need, the more they need to store it.
Right.
And when people are storing their stuff, they need a hug.
Yeah.
They need love.
They do.
We help people through a transitioning time and provide a service directly to their door while enriching storage professionals with additional revenue.
What I love about self-storage is that you're always meeting new people.
Always.
I love to just have a conversation with people, hear their stories, hear about what they do, because there's so many different things in the self-storage industry that you can be into, whether it be software development, tenant and commercial insurance like what we do. There's a lot of different colors and mixes in the industry, so that's what I would love about it. And also the conferences have some great venues too. So that's always a good perk, right?
My favorite thing about self-storage would have to be the opportunity to work with powerful and supportive women like yourself and Iris and the rest of the entire industry as a whole. I think a theme for women in the industry is women empowering women very much comes across, whether you're a competitor or not even in the same technology or magazines or anything in the space. Everyone supports each other and is willing to help each other and provide feedback and resources. And that is huge in this space.
And probably the thing I love most about the industry is the people. You meet people from all over the country, all the vendors at these shows, your partners. They all have an interest in helping your business succeed and making the industry move forward. And everybody's kind of working towards the same goal. So that's been the best part.
Good morning, Self-Storage Land, and welcome to today's Self-Storage Unlocked webinar, sponsored by SBOA Insurance Services. I'm Iris Czygan, president of the Storage Business Owners Alliance, better known as the SBOA. And I want to welcome you today. We're going to dive into how to get your self-storage business ready for the busy moving season that's right around the corner this summer. We're going to talk about operational readiness, marketing strategies, risk management, and practical ways that can make your facility more efficient and tenant friendly. But before we get started, I do want to go over a couple of housekeeping items. You can see in the ticker below, we do have a new format now. So the first 60 minutes are run as usual. It is free to everyone. We're live, and that is our general session. If you're a VIP member, please stay on with us for the last 30 minutes. That will be an exclusive VIP session where you can get more questions answers. We can do a little bit of a deeper dive in case we start to run out of time. And in order to do that, if you're a VIP, be sure to log into the VIP member site, and that is where you'll be able to interact with us. Remember, everyone, you can drop your questions into the chat at any time. So we already have some people being active, letting us know who you are, where you're from. Thank you for getting interactive at the very start with us today. We have a special reward for our most active participant, $20 gift card for Starbucks to the person who answers the most polls and asks the most questions. We just like to keep you active, and we want to reward that, keeping you awake this morning. And we'll send you a Starbucks gift card to help keep you awake for the next session too. The replay of our general session will be available on our SBOA YouTube channel after the event, so you can always rewatch it there if you run out of time today. Now we have a powerhouse lineup of panelists today. We have, how many? We have a huge group, 5 ladies from the self-storage industries. They are here to share their expertise and real-world insights. So I'm going to start by bringing up Erika Campbell. Hi, Erika. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Iris?
I'm good. I might be having a little technical difficulties here because we are having a thunderstorm in the middle of our webinar.
Oh, no.
But please tell everyone who you are, where you're from, and what you do in the self-storage industry.
As Iris stated, my name's Erika Campbell. I'm with SBOA Tenant Insurance, and I've been with the group for 8 years. Actually, today's my anniversary with them, and I am their AVP of self-storage operations.
And what does the SBOA Insurance Services do? I know it's kind of new, and everyone's pretty familiar with SBOA TI, Tenant Insurance. Tell us a little bit more about insurance services.
Well, we rebranded recently because we really wanted to put out there that we have not only SBOA tenant insurance, but we want to be your partner and in all ways tenant insurance and in storage facilities. We have innovative underwriters and brokers that can help our members with their insurance solutions.
Great. All right. I'm going to bring up Shannon from XPX next, and we will see you back in a minute or two. Next, we have Shannon Charbonneau. How are you today, Shannon?
Wonderful. Thank you, Iris. I appreciate you inviting me here.
It's always a pleasure. We have such great ladies from the storage industry today. I'm so excited about this webinar. It's the perfect time to start with a 90-minute format because we have lots to talk about. So please tell everyone about you, Shannon, what you do at XPS and what XPS does for the storage industry.
I'd love to. So my name is Shannon, and I am the Vice President of Client Solutions here, which means that all the clients are my clients. And I just need to make sure, I have a need deep in my heart to make sure that everybody gets what they need. XPS is a call center specifically for the self-storage industry, and we handle everything from the very basic automated services, phone payments, and My Store Pal payments on a mobile app, all the way through live rentals, live customer support, and even remote managers who handle basically everything that can be done by computer or telephone with the stores. So absolutely love this industry. I'm a little jealous that I didn't get in on that video that Leah made.
I'm going to get you all at the end of the show. Trust me. We're just going to keep expanding that video until it's 2 hours long because it was so much fun to do. But you might have noticed the same answer keeps coming up, right? It's people.
It's the people.
And there's no surprise there.
Mhm.
All right, Shannon, thank you. We'll see you back in just a minute or two. And next I have Holly Fiorello from Storable. Hi, Holly. How are you?
Good morning, Iris. I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. You look radiant today. Please tell everyone about Holly
Yeah.
Fiorello, what you do at Storable, and what Storable does for the industry.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to. Again, Holly Fiorello. I'm the field marketing director for Storable. I travel around the country, go to trade shows, help with thought leadership in the industry. My history in the self-storage industry is in marketing and digital marketing and also some technology. So I'm excited to contribute my expertise today.
Well, we know you have a lot that you can share with everyone today. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you back in just a minute or two. And next I have the dynamic duo from Universal Storage Group, Sarah, Beth, and Lou. How are you ladies today? I will let you just tell the world who you are and what you all do for the industry.
Go ahead, Lou. Hi, everybody. I'm Lou Barnholdt. Good morning. Thanks for having us, Iris. Both Sarah, Beth, and I work for Universal Storage Group based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I've been in the industry for about 25 years, all of those years spent with Universal, primarily mostly in operations. And then the last couple of years, I've been on the sales team with Sarah. We do third-party management, consulting, feasibility studies, education, design, development, a little bit of everything. And I'm in Sarah's office. So I live in New York, but I'm at the office in Atlanta today. And so Sarah's with me. Look, right here. No.
Where is Sarah? Because Sarah's not in New York or in her office.
Sarah's at a DoubleTree that's being renovated in Iowa. With no air conditioning. With no air conditioning. Apparently people in the north don't need air conditioning. So I've got all the stuff open, trying to get some air in here. Us Southern girls, we're hot. But so I have been with Universal for, in this role, 11 years. And before that did manage a real estate brokerage and a few other things. And like Lou, just travel around the country, hence Iowa, doing feasibilities and management and such. So we're just happy to be here and excited to get going.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, on that note, I'm going to bring all the other ladies back up. Have everyone here and we'll get started. I wanted to start by talking about streamlining the move-in process. So the busy season's coming up, summer moving season. And Lou, I'll start with you. What do you think is one simple change operators can make right now to create a faster, easier move-in process?
Streamline your move-in paperwork. Make sure that you're offering online rentals and digital leasing and that you've got a great, dynamic, high-functioning, sexy website to make it easy for folks to do those leases online.
Absolutely. Anybody else want to jump in on that?
Come on, girls.
All right, I'll take Shannon. Shannon, how can call centers or remote teams help simplify the tenant onboarding?
I mean, honestly, the first thing to do is to pick up the phone when someone wants to rent a unit. It never fails to amaze me how many people pay so much money to get people to their website. And then when inevitably someone has a question and they pick up the phone and call and then no one answers, that's just the worst possible thing. So from a call center perspective, love, you have to answer the phone. And if you can't do it, please call me. We would love to help because it just has to be done. And then at that point, same thing Lou said, the over the phone rental process should be as easy as it possibly can be as well. And, on our end, I can speak for that. We've simplified that to like 15 fields that need to be filled out. And we're on our way. And we start with credit card information. So people are mentally locked in before you get to all those other questions.
Great. Yeah, I'm going to get Shannon a t-shirt that says, just pick up the phone.
It's true.
I agree with Shannon. The phone's a great tool.
Great.
Shannon, you should have a bunch of like all the generations of phones at your booth.
That would be so much fun. Oh my God. We were talking yesterday about the old school ones where it's like, doo, 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 doo.
Old payphone. That would be awesome. Well,
Way back to the rotary phone.
Oh my goodness.
Jeez.
Erika, what operational risks increase when staffing isn't properly prepared?
Well, I feel that if the staff isn't properly trained and prepared for the busy season, the team may miss a lot of opportunities to offer insurance. They may forget to document choices properly, skip required disclosures. I think it may also lead to possibly not taking the time to fully explain the value of having tenant insurance. And when the losses do actually happen, they may not understand how to properly handle them.
Yeah, absolutely. Holly, how do you keep your remote marketing teams aligned during a busy season? Or how do you suggest operators do?
Yeah, sure. As marketers, sometimes we're kind of feel a little isolated from everyone. So keeping everyone in line with what the KPIs are and what we're focusing on. If rentals is the end of the game, knowing what those KPIs are from the marketing side, how many leads are we driving, how many impressions are we getting, what's our SEO like, and how those contribute to the rentals. Once you have that vision in place, then it's just making them a part of your weekly touch points or your monthly touch points to, really show like a full team. How are we progressing towards the goal that we're trying to get to? What are some areas that we need to look for? I mean, I've been remote for probably 12 years. So to me, it doesn't feel different than being in an office every day with someone because of tools like Slack and, obviously Zoom and StreamYard and things like that. So I think, again, just to kind of like pull it all together, as long as everyone knows how they're contributing to the vision in the end and keeping them along, as long as you keep those touch points along the way, you keep everybody kind of focusing and engaged.
Yeah, absolutely. And since we're talking about communication, do you have communication tips for making signage and digital messaging more tenant friendly?
Yes. So as I mentioned, for over 10, 12 years, we did a test for self-storage signage for, obviously brand's really important, but is it, is public storage draw more eyes, or self-storage, or banana self-storage, or whatever the name is, what draws more eyes? And we found that self-storage larger on the sign drove more people to come in at the time. So brand is important, but make sure that you're not removing self-storage from the sign, or you're having it be prominent so people understand that it's not cold storage, it's not any of these other type of storage. So that's the first one, talking billboard. But when you're on the property, the signage needs to be large and it needs to make sense. And also for your signage to kind of correlate to what your website says. Like, what are you calling rentals? Are you calling it reservations? Is it online move-in? Are they able to sign their lease? Like, make it very clear what the actions are that they're taking and what that's going to lead to. I'm sure the ladies on here definitely have more advice in terms of that, because they visit stores all the time and you can see immediately who has good signage and who has bad signage. So I'd be curious to see what you guys think along those lines too.
Just make sure it's look at it from, I know nothing about storage point of view. Everything on your website, we had a consulting client that had wording on their website, and I looked at them and I go, what does that mean? And they were like, well, it means da da da. And I go, no, I don't know anything about storage. What? Dumb it down. Like I always tell my son, mom it for me. So, make sure that you can put whatever on your signage or your website or wherever, that somebody that knows zero about the industry would know exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah. And I'm going to add to that, Sarah Beth, add more signs. However many you think you need more. If you walk down some of the halls of these ginormous, indoor climate controlled buildings, it's interesting to me. I think some people naturally glance to the right, but some people naturally glance to the left. So if you put all your signs on the right, then everybody who naturally glances to the left is literally going to tell you, I never saw a sign. Walked through that entire hallway. And so my recommendation would be, anything that you really need people to know, you need it more places than you think that you do. And please make them professional. I walk into so many self-storage facilities with a taped up piece of paper they stole out of the copy machine.
Yeah.
And that's not the look I think that we're going for. So professional signage and everywhere. Just
And I'll add one more thing while we're talking on signs before we move on. We had a property that had really, high drive-by traffic, and we added a banner that just said online move-ins available. We've always had online move-ins at that property, but we just added a large yellow sign that said that, and our online move-ins went way up like the next following month. So things, again, we think, like to Sarah Beth's point and Shannon's, that people will know, or they'll be like, well, obviously I could go do this online. They don't. So make it really easy for them to know how to do business with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I'm having some computer glitches over here. So Sarah Beth, we're kind of talking about signs already and sort of first impressions. Can you think of some other ways, that we can improve the tenant's first impression during move-in?
So I had a whole list of stuff, and then I'm just going to talk about what happened yesterday. So I'm out doing secret shops, and the first place we went into, the office was barren. It was weirdly set up. It was a desk in the front, but everything else was behind this wall. And so the manager had to keep walking back. And there were 3 of us in there. He never acknowledged us. When we did finally get up to talk to him, he didn't say who he was. He didn't ask us who we were. He asked us what size we needed. Again, how are we supposed to know that? He was quoting, first of all, it was great. He showed me his whole screen. So I saw his entire site link, everything. So I got everything I needed. But, and then he goes, well, a 10 by 10 is 51, 58, 62. I go, what's the difference? He goes, I don't know. And I said, well, okay, so I guess I'll take the cheaper one. And then I saw where it said first month free, and I go, well, do I get? And he goes, yeah, you can have first month free. And then I said, is there anything else I need? He goes, nah, I think that's it. Bring your driver's license. That might be very helpful if I had that information. And he's like, next, and went on to the next person. That was it. That was the entire extent of our interaction with this person. So make sure that your manager is trained, that they're nice and friendly and introduce themselves, and the office is clean. And, if you can't help the person, give them something to drink and say, I'll be with you in a minute. But most of all, be educated. If you don't know everything about storage, at least know everything about your property so that you can have an intelligent conversation with the person that's there. I mean, we literally, I'm helping train somebody on how to do this while we're here. And she was a manager for years and works in our corporate office. And she looked at me and she goes, seriously? I go, oh, wait, it's probably going to get better. I go, that's probably not the worst one yet. So, again, education.
Customer service. It just doesn't exist anymore.
Never. It does not.
Horrible experience.
We shopped 11 places yesterday and did not have one good customer service interaction. Not one single one.
Isn't it a shame that we're all more surprised when we get good customer service now than actually getting it on a regular basis?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another site we walked into was unmanned, but the gate was open. The door was open to the climate building. So I'm like, free for all. So we walk in, and there were rat traps and roach traps scattered all through the hallways, broken apart. There were dead baby roaches. There were little baby roaches crawling. There were ceiling tiles missing. Take care of your facility. Go in, check it. There were cobwebs. There were the little spider egg things. So that place hasn't been checked on or cleaned in God knows how long. It's just the little things. You can have a Class C facility, but just keep it clean and have an educated person there to help and point out the great features.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that kind of covers my next question for you, Sarah Beth, which was talking about preparing and cross-training your team. So,
we are doing a lot of role playing now. So, take those questions. There's a lot of AI you can use to do role playing as well. But, as an owner, sit down and put those questions out to your manager. How would you handle this objection? Or what do you pretend I'm new? Show me your facility. Tell me what you would say, or send a secret person in, send one of your family members or friends in to shop your place. I always say, you become complacent and you don't see what other people see at your site. So, making sure that you have somebody else's eyes, even if you hiring a professional is great, even if you don't have that, the money to do that, send somebody else in, because they'll see the bollard that needs to be painted, or the gutter that might be dented that might turn them off, or the hasp wasn't easy to move, or whatever those things are. So, subscribe to the publications, attend the webinars, get that knowledge, call a company that can help you get that knowledge, spend a little bit of money to educate yourself and your manager so that you're ready for the leasing season that's coming on.
Yeah. Train your managers to ask for the business, right? Sometimes you go through all of this work and energy to train up your managers, and they go through the whole spiel and they never actually ask for the business, right? So people are not out there shopping for self-storage for a good time. It's not an impulse purchase. They need it. So if they're standing in your office, or they're on your phone, or they're on your website, make it easy for them and ask for the business. What do I need to do to get you to sign your lease today? How does all of this sound? Get their contact information, follow up with them. It's not happening out there these days.
You're right, Lou. I've heard so many times where in an office, someone will say, well, what are the next steps if I want to go ahead and rent? Like, oh my gosh, please don't make someone ask that. Please.
No. And if they do ask that, don't tell them to go out to their car and rent it online on your website.
You're kidding. Please tell me you're kidding right now.
Go to the website. It's cheaper there. Obviously, those people do not have a bonus structure and want to make more money.
I have that so many times where people have said, yeah, they told me to go home and do it online. It'll be cheaper, or what, got them right there. They're right.
What is this? Susan Powder, stop the insanity.
Right, yes.
And now we're dating ourselves again. Back to our age again.
Rent the unit. Y'all are killing me right now. Okay, customer service of one form or another since all the way back in the 1990s, and this is absolutely killing me. Absolutely killing me.
Yeah, I feel that pain, Shannon. Shannon, what's something that you think operators often overlook when they're planning, remote support for a busy season?
Well, I would say probably one of the things is that remote is a hot topic, right? We want to reduce expenses in the stores. I absolutely get that. People are expensive. But I really want, if I could just educate them on one thing, remote does not mean unmanned. Like, I'm really glad that kind of word has been going away, because what happens when you move too quickly in that direction and you just want to save that money is you find what Sarah Beth was talking about, where wet ceiling tiles, filled rote bait stations, like gross. And people who rent there, you will be renting to the lowest common denominator. Your rent rates will be lower, and you will be filled with people who will not pay their rent. You'll end up with higher ARs, all because you didn't have someone with eyes on the facility. Now, from that perspective, I think that you absolutely can be remote, but you have to know somebody's got to go there sometimes. And only you know what that is for your store. But literally, Sarah Beth, you're talking about that facility. I'm like, please write down the name and address of that facility, because we have 25 people listening to this call who buy stores and are going, give me that low-hanging fruit, right? We can fix that up so quickly and double the rent. And like, they just really want to get in there and get to that.
And there wasn't a QR code to rent. There wasn't any way for me to actually even rent. There was a sign on the door that said, rentals by appointment, call this number.
Mm-hmm. And then did they answer the phone?
Oh, I didn't even, I had to get out. All I could feel after that was like, I felt things in my shoes. And
I'm going to give it a 50% at best. 50% at best that they would actually answer the phone that they said call to make an appointment on. So,
and then from an insurance standpoint, I'm hearing all these potential
liabilities
claims that are going to come in because the maintenance isn't being completed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Erika, again, from an insurance and risk perspective, what documentation is essential for them to have at the move-in?
Well, the move-in, you really want to make sure all the documentation is filled out properly, whether it's the acceptance of insurance or the declination of insurance, and having them sign all the paperwork properly. I handle, the DOI complaints and the lawsuits that come in. And a lot of times we rely on that documentation to be able to support our position. So it's imperative.
As far as documents at move-in, is there anything in particular about the summer move-in process that can help people speed up if they're very busy?
Hire a call center so that when you have someone standing at the counter and you're helping them and the phone rings, you don't feel the need to stop what you're doing and answer that phone because you have someone else who can rent that next unit right behind you.
That's a great idea.
And that was another thing we used to always say is love the one you're with.
Correct.
Do not answer the phone. That's why you need a call center too. So if it rings 3 or 4 times and you don't answer, somebody does get that phone call. It doesn't go to voicemail. Yep. Because even though I'm older, I want somebody to answer if I'm calling you, I don't want to call you. So if I'm calling you and you don't answer the phone, I'm moving to the next person that's going to answer the phone.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we actually listened to a call. We were talking about mystery shops and things of that nature. And the manager answered the phone. And the very first thing out of her mouth was, I think she said, "Hello, please hold."
Yeah, she didn't say her name or anything.
He didn't say, "Hey, thanks for calling ABC Storage. This is Michelle. Could you hold, please?" I mean, that's bad enough, but she didn't even do that. It was just, "Hello, please hold." And then it was what, Sarah? Like
2 minutes, 35 seconds.
That person sat on hold before she even picked up the phone and was like, "Yeah, hi, thanks for calling. Can I help you?"
In 2 minutes and 35 seconds, that person should be about 7 items into the list of 13 that we need for a rental.
Right. And so if that store had a call center, right, manager, whoever they're communicating with, they're just going to let that call roll over and somebody's going to answer it. So you're dealing with, again, the person that's standing in front of you, and then the person that's on the phone is being taken care of as well. So work smarter, not harder.
We talk about the tenant experience for that all the time, but can we talk a little bit about the actual manager experience on that as well? What type of stress is lifted off of them when they can look at that situation and go, I know they're going to be taken care of, right? It doesn't always have to be just me. I don't have to jump on that call and put somebody on hold because I can't imagine she loved that either. Right? She knows you're on hold for 2 minutes. I don't know about you guys, but that would make me so anxious to try to finish what I'm doing with this person so I can get back to that person that I put on hold. It's just a relief all the way around.
And making sure to the insurance point of view, and Erika, make sure that your people are educated on what the insurance is and the ins and outs of it, because you people out there that have sites right around college towns, you're about to get slammed. Yeah. And you cannot expect your manager that is not educated on everything and doesn't have a concise plan when they speak to be able to take care of the 50,000 kids and their trucks and their parents who are probably ticked they had to drive out there to help them in the first place, to get them in and out the door. If your website is not working correctly and you don't have that call center that can also help alleviate that, you're going to your poor manager is going to need a cruise in June. And you're going to have to pay for it because she's going to lose her mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to mention, when you're that stressed and rushed, how many things are you going to forget? It just falls through the cracks. And on that note, Lou, for scheduling team coverage, what do you advise people when it comes to weekends and that busy season?
Well, first of all, I mean, use your own rental data, right? So most operational software is going to have the reporting capability to pull activity reports. So know what your busy days are, what your busy times are, and staff accordingly. And then in line with everything that we've already been saying, make sure you consider putting in a call center if you don't already have one. And make sure that you've got the technology and the website in place that can help alleviate some of that overflow as well.
Yeah, definitely. I do want to remind the audience real quick. We have a couple of polls up. The first one you can see in the chat. It is, what's one overlooked marketing tactic that works surprisingly well in peak season? And I love Jennifer's answer. She said in the summer, when I have several vacant units, I pick a Saturday and we have an open house. I give out free hot dogs and sodas and waters, and people stop by and walk the property. I think that's brilliant. Use that time and space wisely, if you have enough man hours to do so, and create some, good vibes all around the community.
Yep. And then ask for the business, Lou. I said that for you. When they're on property, ask for their business.
Yes.
And sell insurance.
Yes. One with the blue
Value
balloon
add.
and the green balloon. Yes.
And have great signage.
Required. Don't be silly.
And update that signage while you're at it. And our second poll question so far, everybody, is how do you prepare your team to handle upset or stressed renters during the busy summer months? We've talked about stressed managers, but what about stressed renters? We all know usually when people are renting a storage unit, it's because something uncomfortable is happening in their life. And so any tips that the audience has? I do want to say, I believe, and I could be wrong, Aaliyah will correct me, Jennifer is currently in the lead to get that Starbucks gift card, answering and asking questions. So Jennifer, keep going with that. And everyone else, you've got a little competition to catch up on. So now we're going to talk a bit about marketing strategy. Holly, you're an expert marketer. You've been doing this for years in the self-storage industry. What is the first thing you suggest operators update in their online presence before the peak season?
I feel like it's kind of doing like a tune-up like you would for your vehicle, right? Like, so you want to audit your rental process. What does it look like when someone's searching for self-storage? What's the first things they come across? Do they see your Google My Business? What do your reviews look like? If you're not doing review drives consistently, you want to set up a review drive before you get to busy season. So when the demand is there and they are looking, they see positive reviews. Also, test your reservation or rental process. Test your phone call. When you make a call, is the call answered? If it's not, maybe you need someone like XPS. Test a mystery lead. If a lead goes through, how long does it take for that lead to be followed up on? Is it ever followed up on? I know that's more than one thing that you mentioned, but they all work together holistically because rentals can come from the street. They can come from a phone call. They can come from online. They could look at your website and your Google business listings and then walk in and you might not ever know. So it's really important to have everything up to date. Also making sure that your inventory that you have available is on your website with correct pricing. It reduces friction when they come in and they're ready to rent, that you have available what you thought was available. And again, your hours, if your hours have changed for busy season, updating those as well.
Yeah, and I always like to remind people also to make sure that the pictures they have of their site are actually their site, not stock photos. So people aren't surprised when they come in.
Can you say that louder again, please?
Louder.
When I'm looking for purple doors and they see green, they went to the, I think I went to the wrong place, which is something I would do. So, just make sure you're using
as a marketer.
Photos.
Please give us photos of your facility. Don't make us use stock photos.
Please. Please. There's lots of stock photos out there, but we want photos of your facility.
Exactly.
And
professional.
Yes, we have so many wonderful professional photographers in this industry. Ask somebody.
It's not expensive.
Yes, it's not. And they're great at what they do. So please.
And now you can get some beautiful drone footage. I mean, there's all kinds of options out there to get actual footage of your facility. So please do that. We all appreciate it from the marketing perspective and the customer perspective. Lou, can you share with everyone an example of a successful summer promotion that you have run?
Sure. So, I mean, obviously everybody's got to be aware of their local markets pricing and have their website pricing and promotions and web rates and things like that in line. But there's a lot of great creative, self-storage is like a super hyper local business, right? So partnering, maybe you partner with a local charity, bring in 3 canned good items and get 50% off your first month's rent, something along those lines. Or, something cute and catchy like a Beat the Heat summer giveaway, right? So everybody that rents a unit, every rental between Memorial Day and Labor Day gets entered into a drawing. Maybe you do weekly drawings. You're giving away fun summer items like a Yeti cooler or a barbecue grill, or, these items aren't that very expensive. And also, while you're out beating the streets and doing your kind of grassroots community referral type marketing to these local businesses, you're asking them to donate these prizes. And for that, they get a mention on your website. They get a mention on your flyers. You promote all of this stuff through your social media. And you photograph people that are coming in and getting their prizes, and you're putting those on your social pages or your website or your e-blasts or any of that, just kind of showing how you are involved in your local community and how you support other local businesses, and help to draw up a little attention and rentals, probably, hopefully, in the same process.
I love that, because we do hear a lot of owner operators saying, I don't know what to put on the social media site. Like, it's storage, right? So create something community that's fun. And, Shannon, yes.
It's not just storage, you guys. It is a relationship with the people in your town.
Yep.
And I'm begging you to treat it that way.
Yep, that's it. It's all about creating that brand awareness and getting people in your market, your local market, to know who you are and recognize you. Because again, it's not an impulse purchase, but when they need it, you want them to only think of you, right?
Think of you. That's right.
Constantly putting your brand in front of them through the ways that you reach out through your community and how you support your local school district and Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts and all of that. That's how people will remember you. It's, people remember the way you make them feel, right? More than what you've done. Sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes.
Depends on what you've done.
Yeah.
Right.
For good or bad, right?
You can work to your disadvantage if you're not careful.
Yeah.
Sarah Beth, we talked about visuals a little bit, but how can those visuals, besides the website, like updated photos, make that stronger first impression? You talked about signs.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're building a new facility or it's not open yet or it just opened, put a banner out front and put the rendering if you don't have any photos, or if you've just opened and you're new, put a banner out front and put a great picture of your units. Or like if you have enclosed RV, put a picture of an RV and your big enclosed RV up there so people can see what you are. People still think of self-storage as the old going back to the 80s, mini warehouse where, it's got gravel lots and nothing great. They don't know all the cool, fancy stuff we have now. Have short videos. My ADD, you got to get in, get out with me. Give me like a 30-second video and I'm set. So show me how, if you've got the new cool Bluetooth locks, put videos on your social media of somebody using the Bluetooth lock. If you have somebody older using the Bluetooth lock, that's even better to show the older people that this is doable. It's not scary. We know how to, make this work. And put, when you come into our facilities that we've designed, or if we take over management and we have the room, we put the TVs behind the manager. Scroll pictures on one of the TVs or on an iPad on your desk of your facility and the things that, show off your facility. I think those, aside from, making sure the website's sexy and not getting catfished on like Tinder, make sure that even when they walk in that they can see the rest of your facility. Because as a woman, when I walk into some of these places and then I have this stranger taking me down this dark hallway to go show me this unit, I'm like, is my location setting on? Like, who is this person? Where am I going? So, if they can see what they're about to go into, that would be beneficial too.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that would be a fun series, like catfish storage facilities.
I can't believe there's not
what you see in person.
Yeah, I can't believe there's not a reality show out there in existence. I mean, maybe the six of us just need to write it.
I'm feeling the YouTube channel.
Yeah. Sign me up.
My God, some of these owners would hate us.
Maybe not a good idea.
How you made them feel.
The doors are not X color; they're really this color.
But they would love us once they realized that if they changed it out, it changed their business, which is really the whole point of why we're here, right?
Yep.
And on that note, Shannon, how important is it for people to sync their promotions across digital and offline channels?
Oh my gosh. I cannot tell you how happy I am that you asked that question. I'm going to answer this question with a story. Follow me down this path, if you will. I am a rental agent here at XPS Solutions, and I take a rental call. This means that your business has received a phone call. You've driven somebody to their website. They didn't rent online. They chose to pick up the phone and call, and the call came here. But they're already looking at the website most of the time, right? So now they're talking with a rental agent who is absolutely happy to rent to them, but our price, let's just say, is $100 and there's no promotion. And the person on the phone says, but I'm looking at your website and it says $94 with a 50% off the first month. But I don't have that. I can't click on a button to make that happen for you because the owner has not enabled me to do so. They haven't synced those up. What are the chances that you think that that person who literally picked up the phone to call is going to rent right now over the phone? And I'll tell you, it is 0%. 0% of the time are they going to go, you know what? I'll just pay you the 100. It's fine. They're never, ever going to do that. So that is just one small example. Now extrapolate that out. You get the example that I think Lou just mentioned, which was go outside your car and rent it because it's cheaper. Even internally, it really isn't as helpful as you think. I think back in the day, the thought was, if I put the promotion on the website, it will drive people to the website. So I need fewer people. And that's great if people are going online. But here's what I'm going to say. People are going online anyway now, but if they didn't and they walked in the door to your facility, they are not less valuable to you. If they didn't rent online and they picked up the phone and they called you, they're not less valuable to you. So my recommendation would absolutely be to sync those up across the board. I don't see, and I'm going to ask Sarah Beth to jump in here, or Holly from a marketing perspective. Is there still a reason in this day and age that for some reason the website should have a better price than what I can give you in person or over the phone?
From a competition standpoint, it depends on if you have price sensitive shoppers and your competitor across the street has something lower on their website. You obviously don't want to race to the bottom, right? But I personally think that would be one of the only reasons that your lowest price possible would be on the website. Like I know outside of our industry, the Hilton you'll find their lowest price on their website, not on their aggregators that they feed through. So it's just kind of, I think it's curious how people do that. I don't know, Sarah Beth, what your thoughts are.
Lou, I mean, you and I are seeing this when we go do shops, and it's a matter of, so many people are not educated in how to sell their facility that all they do is, all right, quick story. So if you're looking at just your competitors on the web, that might not be exactly what the price really is. So you need to not only look on the web, but you also need to call and you also need to go in person, because people are, especially if you're surrounded by the big boys and their rates are so low and you're like, oh my gosh, in order to get occupancy, that's how low I have to be. But that might not be the real rate. We looked online. We thought we were higher than the person. After we called and had a conversation with the manager and I knew how to pull the information out of him that I wanted to get, it turns out with all of the monthly fees that were added on to that super low rate, by the time they got to the end of the rental, it was almost $50-something a month in fees. So it turned out our client was actually $13 cheaper a month than the rate that was online. So that's why it's so important to not just look at that online rate and to do all of the steps to find out what the real rate is. Because people are going to get mad. People have already gotten mad at the bait and switch that's happening with the low rates. So if you're educated enough when they call, or the call center's educated enough to be able to talk that through and say, hey, I know my comps. Like Lou has the best stories about knowing her comps. And you can explain to them what's really going to happen, then you're going to rent that a lot quicker. But Lou?
Yeah.
I'm just going to add quickly. I think it's important that you put your best foot forward on your website, for the only fact that when people are shopping online, they don't have the human interaction, right? So if someone walks into the store or calls you, you have the personality and the ability and the salesmanship to sell them, right? But when they're online, the only thing that they're looking at more than likely is the ease of your website, your location, and your price, because they don't know what the other differentiating factors might be between you and the other properties, and they don't have the opportunity to hear that because they're online shopping. So for those reasons, you have to have these great promotions, I think, on your web. But I don't think that your manager should have the same ability to offer that in-house. Absolutely. It doesn't mean that they necessarily have to lead with that, but when it comes up, or when you realize, I mean, one of the first questions that we ask when we pick up the phone is, how'd you hear about us? Because if they say, oh, I'm looking at your website, well, then we already know, right? So I'm going to quote you. I'm going to start right off the gate with, yeah, we got those 10 by 10s are in a great promotion right now. I'm going to quote it. But if they say, oh, I just drive by you every day, well, then maybe I'm going to start with my in-house rate and see what I can do, right? So I think it should be available 100%, but your selling techniques are going to be a little bit different online versus in person.
True. And knowing your competition, like Sarah Beth was just saying, absolutely
100%.
so important. But from a third-party call center perspective, I'm just saying, don't make me be your competition. I can't compete with your website. Right?
Absolutely. Turn the channel on for you to be able to see it.
Correct.
100%.
Yeah, Tamara chimed in and said they have a competitor that they secret shopped, and they had 5 fees that they charge tenants every month that add up to another $50 a month. But
Tamara must have shopped the same one.
Be careful. We're seeing things from the SSAs. The different state SSAs are putting out notifications that things are in front of legislators about junk fees. And we don't want to get caught up in that. So
that's publicity that this industry does not need. I mean, do better.
And make sure that you get your state approved lease and you follow your if I answer one, I literally just want snippets in Word that I can put onto these Facebook posts, because I'm saying the same thing over and over and over. For the love of God, do not throw people's things away. Follow your state lien laws. Get your state approved lease, join your state association. Don't have Joe Schmo attorney at law in your little town write up your lease agreement. They don't know all the nuances that you have to have. Reach out to one of the self-storage expert attorneys that know the laws in your state and follow those laws. Do not make stuff up on your own.
Absolutely.
That's my soapbox for the day.
You're such a great advocate in those Facebook groups too, Sarah Beth. Like, I'm just always so impressed that you have tons of patience and time to, share the knowledge and to protect the industry as a whole. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah. All you see from me is the logo with the wide eyes. Like,
yes. mine is the animated bunny that goes, huh? I love that one.
I like the smiley face is just melting. Yeah.
So now when you're on Facebook and you see the smiley face or the wide eyes or the you know who we are.
Well, Erika, so when it comes to marketing, how does that tie in with insurance? What kind of pitfalls do operators run into with, summer rush and things like that? If they're marketing, I'm sure there's some very specific language they need to use when it comes to insurance.
There is. And, from a non-insurance standpoint, I'll say I agree with everybody on the marketing materials, making sure they have our updated brochures, our counter mats, the posters, make everything look fresh and clean, and make sure that all of that is up to date. But again, like reiterating the training for the insurance, your facility managers are the front line for that, and having them well trained in tenant insurance is beneficial. And there's a lot of add-on value to having tenant insurance. Not just, you can have your homeowners and your auto, but still opt into the insurance program and the reasons why. And they should be the expert on that. So I really encourage the training of the facility managers on the insurance product and how they can help the customer get the best value. The other thing I wanted to point out, a lot of the marketing I'm hearing is the offering of a free month of insurance or rent. But I have to encourage everybody to make sure they don't also offer free insurance, because I see sometimes that happens. And then a customer thinks they have insurance and it was written off and never paid for because they offered it for free. So making sure that people are trained to keep the insurance as a charge when they're offering the free month of rent.
Erika, can I ask you to dig in a little further on that? Because that's new for me. I've not heard that, and I want to make sure I understand correctly.
Sure.
Is that something that can be added to the second month? Or if you say you get first month free and it includes insurance, can the operator pay the insurance themselves? Like, how does that work?
Well, when I see it on the ledgers, a lot of the management systems show them as two separate line items. And I don't know why facility managers offer free for both, because they should be able to have the line item for the insurance.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody falls in any problems with that, let us know. But they should be able to keep the insurance while offering the free month of rent.
Mm-hmm.
They basically don't just say first month free, because then they think everything
is free.
Right.
Really specify it's first month rent is free.
Because that comes into the confusion where, later on they've signed the enrollment form for insurance, but on our end, it looks like they didn't start insurance if you don't charge them for that first month of insurance.
Got it.
Because of the promotion.
That's a good call out.
Yeah, that's good. That is
Wonder
good
how many
info.
people you get calling to yell at you, Erika, when
It happens sometimes, but I have to say, when we investigate that and find out it wasn't, it was a mistake, we, honor that, but I'm not encouraging that in any way, shape, or form, because it makes it messy and frustrating for everybody involved, including the facility manager, the customer, and, the insurance piece for the claim.
Yeah, we have Scott Zucker on here frequently, and if there's one thing that he always tries to drive home is just be very clear and concise before you even get to signing that rental agreement. So everyone's expectations, there's no surprises. And that plays into really everything from the time they look at your website to the time they walk through the door. If everyone is just clear and concise, you don't have too many, messy things to deal with later, hopefully.
Right.
I mean, how many times do people rent, and just saying, I've seen it out there where they don't get the rental agreement explained to them really. We have big laminated leases, and we have the key real important points highlighted out so that at least they go over those super key factors that, might come back as questions later, to go over it all. But, I've secretly rented units before and nobody goes over the lease with me. They're like, here's the lease, initial here, sign here. I have no idea what I signed.
At the very least, the managers need to know their lease frontwards and backwards. So if they have a question, like what does limitation of value mean? What does abandonment mean? What does, that they know the answer.
Right. It goes back to properly staffing and training.
Yep.
Really.
Yep. And train your managers to understand that insurance is a benefit, right?
Yeah.
Because if they don't buy in on it, they're not going to sell it.
Absolutely.
And
there's a lot of
all the way
benefits.
around.
It really is. Yes.
Yep.
Well, and for sure, because we see all the time where managers will say like, oh, my customers don't want to do that, blah, blah, blah. Here's what I'm going to say, especially like Sarah Beth, you mentioned that rental season, the busy time is coming for college students.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, as parents of college student, they don't want to have to go dig up their homeowner's insurance. They want an easy way to check a box and get their kid whatever they need. They don't want to go out there and be searching for something. So make it easy for them, require it, but make it easy for them to just opt in immediately with an attitude of, oh, thank goodness, I don't have to do anything. It's just covered.
And what if you're a college student here, you've put your, you've put your prized possessions from college into this storage unit, And now, you're like, oh yeah, my parents have insurance. I don't need insurance.
Mhm.
Well, you don't know what your parents' deductible is.
I
Now
was just gonna
you've
say that,
lost,
yes.
you've lost your prize possessions that are
Mhm.
probably in total worth $2,000. But now you're going to your parents, go, well, you can either replace this or you can file this on your homeowner's mom and dad because I checked the box and didn't decide to pay $30 for 3 months or whatever. And now, what a hassle is that?
Well, then I'll add to that. Let's just say the claim's worth filing with your homeowners. You're now going to have that mark on your record.
Yep.
You're not going to have that under tenant insurance.
Yeah.
And Lord knows homeowners insurance is expensive these days.
It is.
It's a mark.
And people keep pushing their deductibles higher and higher to try to keep those costs lower and lower. So if you, like to Sarah Beth's point, if you got $2,000 worth of stuff in your unit and your deductible is $5,000, guess what you are? You are self-insured, friend.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just out $2,000.
There goes your Lily Pulitzer Prize.
But also there goes the reputation of the facility, right? Because that customer's mad, and that's going to go all over social media. So
And
the
they
owner's
think,
probably
why
going
did
to
they
wind
offer
up
that to
paying.
me?
Yeah, the owner's probably going to wind up paying that to make it go away anyway. So train your managers to sell insurance. It's
Hence
important.
Lou's comment about limited liability.
Yeah,
Definitely. Well, Erika, expounding on that, from an insurance standpoint, we're going to talk about strengthening security risk management. So what's the number one security feature operators should verify before the busy season starts?
I'm going to say hands down video surveillance. That would be my top pick because people see that on your website or as a selling point, and they feel very comfortable with your location because you advertise 24-hour surveillance and cameras. And when they don't work, when there's a claim, they're very upset. So I would just make sure that your cameras are working properly. Second to that, I would talk about the maintenance again. Not necessarily a security feature, but making sure that your maintenance is up to date to, the rodents, any repairs that you have pending, make sure you do that because I'm going to say the nasty word hurricane season is also coming. So any repairs that you can be ahead of to help minimize any types of losses that you have possibly coming this summer. But hands down video, that's the biggest complaint I get.
And for an owner operator, is there any security feature that the insurance company is going to ask me if I have that might help me, as far as my insurance premiums and things like that?
On the commercial side, yes, definitely, like fencing, gates, the cameras, security.
Okay. Lou, how often should operators walk their properties and conduct those security inspections?
Oh, Lord. So I would, a manager, the first thing that they do in the morning, they come in, they clock in, and they pull out their golf cart, or if they have one, or they walk, and they should do the rounds. So you're looking for any mischief that happened overnight from when you closed, anybody backed into your gutters or your gate, or people moved out. Because if you don't catch that right away, then you go back and you look at your gate log and your video surveillance and catch any issues there. Then if they leave for lunch, I would think they're going to do another cursory check when they get back, anytime they leave their property, and certainly before they leave for the day. So those are quick cursory checks, but then they should be pulling that walkthrough report from their operational software and doing an actual physical check to the operational check what your software is saying. So if the software says it's rented, you're making sure that there's actually a lock on there and there's a customer in there, that overlocked units are properly overlocked or not overlocked. When I was a area manager and would go and do audits at my properties, I can't tell you how many times I'd find overlocked that shouldn't have been, or vice versa. So, or, with all of these online overnight immediate access rentals, sometimes people are moving into the wrong unit too. So if you're not checking your physical to your software, then you're missing, you could possibly be missing a lot. So every time they leave the property, it's a cursory check. And then I would say at least twice a week, they're pulling that full report and doing the physical lock check.
Awesome. And I want to let everybody know we are at that 1 hour mark, but as a special surprise today, since this is a new format for us, we are just staying live for the entire 90 minutes. So we do have a lot more questions to cover. We want to invite everyone to join us. So if you're on, stay on and Keep listening as we talk. Now we're going to ask Sarah Beth. Have you given some advice to owner operators, Sarah Beth? I'm sure you have. Of a simple way to a simple way to introduce tenant insurance into the move-in conversation.
Yeah, I mean, so many people are afraid because they're like, oh, it's just another fee. And again, like Lou said, it's a protection for you. Not only is it a protection for you, it's a moneymaker for you. And when we speak, we always preach, do the things, get your property valued now, do the things we're telling you to do, then go get your property valued again. And you'll understand why we're saying what we say, not only to protect your tenants and yourself, but also to increase the value of your property and the respect of your property in the community. But get whoever your tenant insurance provider is to make sure they come in and really train your managers or train yourself. Teach you all the ins and outs. Go through the whole like Lou said, when you read your whole lease and know your lease, how many of you have actually read all the documents that if a renter gets when they rent and from their insurance provider? Go through all that, know it in and out, but also know as a manager, you're not an insurance broker. You're not there to give true insurance advice. So in a quick snippet of when I was a manager, Lou was my area manager. I would come in and say, all right, insurance is a mandatory condition of leasing with us. So, here's the insurance that we provide. Here are the features and this is how much it costs. Or you can bring me your homeowners. It's completely your choice. But hey, and we all know they lie. They don't know how long they're going to be there. Okay. So college kids, you're going to be here 3 months. That's $30 for 3 months worth of insurance. If anything happens, then we call you and say, Mrs. Smith, we're so sorry this happened. You took out a $3,000 policy. Within 48 hours, you have a $3,000 check. You go on your merry way. If you want to bring me your homeowners, great. What's your deductible? And does, then, weigh the cost benefits and tell me which one you'd like to choose. Well, duh, I'm going to pay you $30 rather than think I might have to pay my deductible or, whatever when something happens. But again, you're not an insurance agent. Just know the ins and outs to be able to explain it completely. Like the guy yesterday that we saw. I said something about, somehow I got him to talk about insurance. And he handed me this thing and he said, oh yeah, it'll be quoted me like $20 something, and almost $30. And then he goes, here's the paper. And that was it. Like, what? I mean, you just quoted me rent for $50. Now you're telling me I have to pay another $20 something a month on top of that. So again, if you don't know what your competitors are doing and you don't know how much their insurance costs and what all their fees are and everything, you don't know what you're truly competing against. And if he explained to me that, yes, I wouldn't have a deductible and, somebody would just come write me a check if something happened or whatever, I'd be okay. But if you just tell me, hey, here's what you have, and he didn't give me the option to use mine. He just gave me this and said, this is what you have to use, which is not cool, right. And now I think I have to pay all this extra money with no explanation. And people don't like that. People are tight with their money and they want to know what they're spending the money on. And if you give them a reason why it's a good value, they'll spend the money. But if you just say, here, you have to do this, I'm out. I'm going to the next place.
Well, we always ask the people, part of our sales script is how much do you think your items are worth, your stuff is worth. And that helps the manager to quote the right level of insurance. And then we just include it in the price. So I'm going to say, yeah, that 10 by 10 is $140 and it includes $3,000 worth of coverage. Also, our gate access hours are this, or this, or this. You just go into your spiel and you just do the assumptive sale, and it's a lot easier to sell that way. And as long as the manager understands it as a benefit and has buy-in on it and can explain it, then it should be an easy thing.
And if I'm not mistaken, and help me insurance people of the world, but you, I believe it was Scott that said this too, that if you're online, you have to give an opt-out on your website. So if you've had your nephew build your website and somehow you have insurance on there and there's not an opt-out, you're creating a big no-no.
Yeah. One more reason to join your state association and make sure you know what's going on. Don't just join the association, actually pay attention, go to the events and know what's happening, know your laws. Holly,
Watch the past SBOA webinars with Scott and whoever else.
Thank you. Thank you for that call. Also, who else is ready to fly to Iowa with see Sarah Beth and go visit that facility and have a talk with that operator?
Oh, well, I will tell you that one of the two operators I am mentioning is a large operator, a very large operator.
Wow.
So
even more disappointing, right?
What color are their doors?
Nope.
Nope.
The doors don't match the signage. So we can narrow it down from there. But I bite my tongue. I do have people that, and we are like family in this industry, and people find it very weird how all of us as competitors get along so well. And I have been known when I shop a bad person to call my industry friend and say, look, I strongly suggest you go secret shop your people at this location. They're not doing you any favors. Because I hate to see them fail that badly. And I'm really debating on this one whether or not I need to call and say, maybe you should go secret shop your person and just leave it at that.
Sounds like it's a strong possibility. I'm sure they would appreciate it at the very least. Holly, how do you promote facility security features in the marketing process?
That is an interesting one. We've come across some situations where they're not necessarily, there's some considerations around how you say things legally on the website, right? So saying that we have security could be a no-no. Saying we have video surveillance, we have 8-foot fences, we have gate access hours, all those things are okay. So I see people nodding. So if you guys have more background, because I see it all the time, and I'm like, it's kind of, some of this is a no-no. So rather than making claims that their things are safe and the facility is secure, you're open for you could be open to some liability that way. Or if you talk about what measures you have in place to make the facility more secure, is a little bit different. So yeah, really that's kind of like the call out, and what measures are you taking to have a safer facility, and talking about those rather than claiming that the facility is safe.
Yeah, I agree. We've learned about that too. Sorry, Iris, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna. It's a tricky thing, and it's a great tip because a lot of people don't think about it in those terms. Yeah, you can still talk about your safety measures without saying safe, because I could see how it could open you up to some liability if there was.
You don't say you've got 24-hour security, because that implies that you have an armed security guard sitting on your property 24 hours a day. So that should be, we have 24-hour digital surveillance, is different than.
And you don't say fully secured, you say we are a fully enclosed.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So you point out what the actual feature is. Security is technically the benefit of those security features that you put in, but we can't imply that it's going to be perfect every single time either. So call out your features all day long.
Yeah, absolutely.
And make sure it goes back to having somebody professional do your website and not Timmy, your nephew, because the professionals know what to say, what not to say, what to put, how to put it, where to put it, what drives people. And they can give you the data analytics. And if you get just a basic $50 website that your nephew's done, you're not going to have those analytics. You're not going to have somebody that knows the industry and knows what drives your website and what's going to make your website more successful.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. That's a really good point. We've been through it, thousands of properties, and come across these things along the way. And you don't know what you don't know until you learn. That's definitely the benefit of going for a provider who has self-storage experience.
Definitely. Shannon, how can call center staff assist in flagging potential security concerns from tenant feedback?
So we have a pretty detailed escalation process. Remember, we're at the end of the line once somebody has gotten through the entire thing, if they've gotten to our person and they're talking about a security concern, then we have to have a way to escalate that. So that is part of the launch process for every client that we have that says, A, what do you consider to be an emergency? Because I'll tell you, the number one tenant emergency is I can't get in because I just paid and my overlock is still on. That's the biggest emergency that anybody will ever call about. But for real things, we call it not like a 911 issue. We say fire, flood, or blood in our training, right? Like a big stinking deal. We have a process for that. So my, obviously we would flag that. And then my note to the owners or the operators would be, when you get those text messages, check those out. They should be few, right? If ever, to Erika's point, if they have been doing their maintenance, they shouldn't have an urgent thing. But every now and again, I mean, we've seen some crazy things that got escalated as a security issue of, hey, your gate just crunched my car, or, but I don't know. How about the manager is standing on the top of my car with a baseball bat? Please help.
Oh gosh.
Please don't call the manager. He's on my car right now.
That's a new one.
Yeah, we do get some stuff. But yeah, the process is automatically built in because we know we're not physically there and there's really not a lot that we can physically do, but we certainly can take that information and get it through to the right people immediately who need to know.
Absolutely.
And if you have the cameras in place, that'd be great video.
Yeah.
I do not have a video of that interaction, but I can remember that they played the recorded call for us as a training tool for all of our staff. That was basically like a woman screaming, "He's on my car! He's got a bat!"
Oh my goodness.
That's so crazy, Shannon.
So I believe part of the question became, why are you calling the store number? You should be calling 911. Please. I just want to talk to his boss.
Good Lord.
Wow.
I think that manager needed to find a new opportunity, right? Maybe self-storage he wasn't cut out for it.
Follow your bliss elsewhere.
Yeah, the sad thing is we never really get the full story on the back end of that. If that manager was like, well, yeah, I was on her car with a baseball bat. She had a python, or you know what I mean? Like,
you hope, right? You hope it's something like that. But,
it was my ex-wife and her lover.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised, Sarah.
Yeah, there are so many stories.
I've got stories involving that.
Yeah.
Another call on another day.
That's the next book.
Mm-hmm.
Got John Lindsay's sexy side. Then somebody needs to write the seedy side.
The seedy side of storage.
I'd read that. Well, that leads us into our last segment, which is enhancing the tenant experience by leveraging technology. Holly, Storable is a tech giant in the storage industry. What tech tools have you seen dramatically improve the tenant journey recently?
The tenant journey. Okay, so the low-cost technology improvement that I have seen make the biggest impact for operators of every single side is implementing past due collection reminders that are automated, because by and far, managers will say that is the most uncomfortable thing that they have to do. Is they have the same list of the same people every month who pay late that they have to call and remind them to pay their bill. And by implementing, again, a low cost, fully automated rent reminder communications, it's email, it's text messages, and it's a robocall to your customers, basically the same exact thing that you would say or do, doing it for you, has made such a difference. It's like 3 hours a week, depending on how big your facility is, that those managers get back that time and that function's still done. So I would say, out of everything that you can do, if you want to implement something new, if you're not already doing that, it's great. And it takes the awkwardness out of the situation. The person who makes the call, the recorded voice that makes the call says, "Hey, this is Marcy. I just wanted to let you know that your rent was due on the 1st, press 1 to make a payment." And so that if they don't make a payment online, they'll call the facility and they'll be like, yeah, Marcy called. And you immediately know that that customer is calling to pay their rent. So again, it's another signal for you. But if you do want to implement technology, you're not already using that. It's a quick way to make to give yourself more time and to make an impact at your facility. And there's also features too where you can subsidize and charge a technology fee for the technology. So it's subsidized and you're at a positive ROI already, not mentioning how much extra rent you collected.
Yeah, we were talking to Jeff Haith over at Da Vinci Solutions and Jack from 10 Federal, and they were talking about that technology fee a couple of weeks ago. And it's a great little just revenue boost. And most people, what Jack was telling us is they're seeing most people are happy to pay for it. They love seeing this technology. They love that it makes people's life easier. And when you explain why you have that fee, they like that much better than an admin fee.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because they feel like you're going to have admin anyway, but technology means things are, you know, in the back of your mind, you're thinking things are faster. They're more secure. And so people just seem to be more willing to pay that fee. And if anybody could give me 3 hours back in my week for a low cost, I would be all over it. So I would strongly recommend that.
It's ChatGPT.
Oh yeah, we love that. Shannon, how important is offering text-based or mobile communications? You know, Holly was just talking about that. Have you talked to operators about the same thing?
For sure. And we offer an automated system very similar to Holly's. Highly, highly recommend. It does save that time. She is not exaggerating in the slightest. And not only is it 3 hours, but it's usually 3 hours like crunched into just a few days, right? So it's a pretty big percentage of their time. Also, interestingly, there are a lot of studies out in the world that talk about, you know, we're moving more and more towards a self-serve society, right? And people who serve themselves, if they've chosen that option, right? They have the option of a person or they have the option of self-service. When they take a survey that says, did you get good customer service? They actually score themselves quite high because they got what they needed quickly. And that is really all we need. You know, personally, I talk all day. I come here and I love you ladies and we could talk for hours. But when I go home, I don't want to call people and have to talk to them to get my life done, right? And so if you just give me a text message with a link that I can click on or a number that I can call and punch in my credit card number, the answer is yes on that. And if you were then to ask me for a satisfaction score, I'm going to rate myself a 5 out of 5 because I took care of my own business as quickly as possible, right? So I would add, yeah, absolutely, Holly. I would add to that, you know, if you give someone a mobile app, so they can find their gate code. Can I just tell you how many people are calling because they just don't know their gate code or their unit number because they haven't ever visited their stuff since they put it in there? Give them a way to find that information for themselves and they will love you. They're going to think you're amazing because they pulled their phone out and looked up what they need. So 100%, I'm going to echo what she said on that.
Great. Lou, sometimes operators are hesitant to invest in new technology or even try it out. What advice do you have for them?
Start small. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? So pick your biggest pain point or where are things bottlenecking the most, whether it's payment activity or gate access or delinquencies or revenue management. There's a lot of great tools out there for revenue management that aren't that expensive. So just pick the one biggest pain point and start there and then kind of ease yourself in from there.
Great advice. And I've heard others say, just jump in, just do it. And
yeah.
You know, like you said, pick one that seems to be your biggest pain point. And
yeah, I mean, I have consulting clients, and so I'll go to the consulting client, and after I visit their stores, I always have this long list of all the things that I suggest they do, and then I'll highlight 3, you know, put it in red at the bottom of the list. So when the owner says, "What? This is so much, Lou. What do I do?" I'll say, "Just do these 3. This is going to cost you $15.75 a month." And it's going to be so great. So do these 3 things, and then I'll come back in 3 months and we'll talk about it. And if this has improved your life and your business and your bottom line, then we'll go on to the next 3, so just start someplace. Don't bury your head in the sand.
Yeah, just take baby steps. I love it.
Yeah. And Lou, I would add to that, it depends on how many sites you are talking about. If this is a one store, like everything you just said is like one single owner operator. But for operators out there who have many locations, sometimes the right answer is, if you think you have a pain point, begin with a new site that you're bringing on that doesn't have anything yet, right? You don't have to necessarily go with your old SMS or your, whatever your old provider is that's causing you pain. You don't have to change everything, especially right here at the summer months. We know everybody's crazy busy, right? But it will give you apples to apples if you're looking at 2 similarly sized, similar market, facilities. But B, it'll keep you from that whole pain point of having to make a massive change for a whole bunch of stores all at one time.
Yeah.
So consider a rollout, I would say.
Yeah.
Or find what your people don't have. When you go shop all your competitors, find that one piece of technology they're missing that would make your facility really stand out, and maybe start with that one too.
Yes.
Very good. I love that. Erika, how do automated notices and e-signatures enhance compliance and customer satisfaction?
It ensures that we're having a consistent, timely communication with customers and tenants, and it takes the human error out of making sure that those things are done in a timely way with customers. So it's a great tool, and there's so many ways you can use it in the different systems that we have.
Sarah Beth, we just talked a little bit about that with Lou, but we're less than 30 days out from the big rush season, right? If you were to advise people to pick just one thing, what would you say that should be?
If it was just one thing, I would say audit your website, just because that's such a big one. Just really audit every aspect of your website. Like we talked about earlier, make sure it's easy to rent, reserve, see what your response times are from your managers. Do they respond within 5 minutes of getting that lead on the web, or do they wait 24 hours before they respond to that person? So really audit that. But then just look through every aspect. If you don't have the time to invest and you just want to make sure things are working well, go in again and pretend you're a customer and use every aspect of technology on your site and make sure it's just flowing properly, or call and see if they've had any add-ons. Maybe they added an extra feature or benefit and your rep hasn't gotten to you yet to explain it. So, really have personal relationships with your vendors. And another one of my soapbox things is there's 9 million vendors out there right now. And if your vendor's not giving you the time and attention you deserve and the knowledge you deserve, find another vendor.
Keep us accountable.
Yep.
Right.
Hold the vendors accountable. Hold all of us accountable. Because if we're not giving you what you want, when your gate doesn't work, they're not going to give a bad review to your gate person. They're going to give your facility a bad review. So, everybody's got to be held accountable, and your vendors work for you. You don't work for your vendors.
Yep. It's funny, Sarah Beth, you just said something that really jumped into my head, because I'm the relationship person here, right? So that's with our current clients. So many times I'm picking up the phone to make a phone call to an existing client to say things like, I noticed that you don't have us doing your rentals. Like, why would you not? And I cannot tell you how many times I hear people say, oh, I didn't even know you did that. And I mean, my head hits the desk, my poor marketing team, because I'm like, we're shouting from the rooftops in every digital, social, in-person meeting, like, let us rent your units. So when I hear somebody who actually even uses us tell me, oh, I didn't know you did that. I thank you for calling me and letting me know. But I have thousands of them, so I can't make all those calls in one day. Right. So, but when I look at that and realize marketing's not enough, people have to hear the message over and over and over and over again. And sometimes it really just does need that personal touch. Right.
And when you're a single owner, you've got all that stuff going on. And, you've got gates and payments and web and doors and locks and whatever. And, as a management company, we have one person that deals with insurance. We have one person that deals with this. And so they're more versed on things other than an owner who can't know everything that's going on. So you have to rely on your vendors to reach out to you to keep you informed.
Absolutely.
That's a good reminder. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, on
Now
that,
y'all are going to be making those phone calls today.
Or a few more phone calls. That's what I'm going to say.
before we wrap up today, I would like to add all of you to our We Love Self-Storage video. So if you could go one at a time, starting with Lou, tell us what you love about self-storage, please.
Oh, it's the same thing that everybody says. It's the people. It's the people. I'll tell you what, this job was a pit stop for me 25 years ago. I was in the banking industry. I moved, I relocated, I took a job at a storage facility as a property manager and said, this will pay my rent for a little while until I figure out what I want to be when I grow up, right? And like, there's just nothing sexy about self-storage. I said, I don't want to call my friends and say, oh, I'm a self-storage manager. And yet here I am 25 years later, right? And so it's not only the customers, I mean, my company, I love the people I work for. I love the people I work with. Now being on the sales team and getting to go to the trade shows and meeting all of you beautiful people. And so, like you can literally sit down and break bread with your biggest competitor and just have a great time. And so it's unique. It's very different from the banking industry, people. I will tell you that. Those realtors will stab you in the back the second you turn around. So it's not like that. And there's just, if you get bored with one facet of this industry, then go do something else, because there's so many different parts of it, moving pieces that you can get into. And so I just love it.
Definitely. I love that. Sarah Beth?
Oh gosh, I guess, you can, Lou spoke it perfectly coming from a management side perspective, like being in a corporation perspective, but I'm going to go from an owner, operator, manager perspective. If it's not sexy and you think, I'm just going to be stuck in this box all day long and people are just going to come in, I'm going to show them a unit, it's going to be done. You can make anything fun. I mean, you can turn anything into a great experience. So, create all those cool marketing events. Do something great at your store. Dress up as a gorilla and stand outside with a big sign one day. It doesn't have to be boring. Make it what you want and make it fun and interesting and make your facilities stand out and do something new each day. Call those people. Learn about your tenants. I mean, I can't tell you how many therapy sessions I provided when people paid their rent. But, get involved in the community. It's a chance for you to actually know your community and become involved in it. So I think that's what makes this great is, it's not like you're working at Starbucks and you have to sit behind here and just make coffee after coffee after coffee. You can get out and explore and expand and make it what you want it to be.
Absolutely. I love that. Erika, you want to take a stab at it?
Sure. I mirror a lot of what everybody says. I love the energy that everybody brings to the table, and there's always something new going on or to learn anything from what products are out there, new technology. I know I focus a lot on the insurance side. I spent a majority of my career doing insurance, and I'd say I always welcome the opportunity to influence how people feel about insurance, because again, it's not sexy. People hate insurance. Let's be honest, most people don't like it, but there's such a huge benefit, and I love to change perceptions on that.
You got kind of the double whammy of not sexy industry in insurance and stuff. Shannon, how about you?
Well, I mean, our industry is awesome. We are a call center, so y'all know.
That's right.
I love that. So I actually never stop telling the story, and I love when I hear it repeated back from so many different people. But, like many others, I found self-storage completely by accident. It was just here when I needed it. And once I found my people here, I knew that this was the place for me. Like Lou, I came out of a different industry. I was in corporate security. And so there was not a lot of collaboration, I would say. It just didn't exist. And so coming to a place where people sit down at round tables to discuss what works for me and how it can work for you too the first time I saw that at a trade show, I was like looking around thinking, does everybody seeing what I'm seeing? Like they're just telling them that, just like letting them know. So yeah, this is my home, and this is where I will be until, and if I win the lotto tomorrow, not gonna lie, the chances aren't great of that because I don't ever buy a ticket. But if I did win by some miracle,
don't forget us little people if that happens.
I will not forget you. I'll be remembering you fondly from somewhere in Europe.
We're all going to fly first class to the UK.
Yes. We're all going Delta One to the UK on Shannon.
That's right.
But if you're like me, I also love self-storage. If I win the lotto tomorrow, I'm going and buying a facility.
Me too.
So I'll still be in self-storage.
In Iowa.
In Iowa.
I heard there might be a good deal coming up in Iowa.
Post the address of that facility here. If there's any like buyers on the line, like call them today. Call them, please help them.
Absolutely.
You can find my phone number on the web.
The contact information goes out for Sarah Beth. You're going to get inundated from operators in Iowa.
Spam.
Where exactly was that? If I can just count to 3 and have everyone say we love self-storage, I will let you guys go. I know we're a little over time today. 1, 2, 3.
We love
self-storage.
Okay, thank you. Audience, I just have a few announcements. Thank you, ladies, so much. This was so much great information, wonderful tips, stuff I never heard before either. So thank you for joining us. I'm going to let you go and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, a couple of announcements, starting with the winner of our Starbucks gift card today. That was Jennifer Lara. Jennifer, thank you so much for being interactive in our webinar today, because that really does make a difference. It helps us know there are people actually out there listening and watching and interacting, and we really appreciate that. So if you will reach out to Mari, M-A-R-I, Aaliyah, maybe you can put that in the chat and up on the screen. Mari at thesboa.com with the subject line SSU winner. Mari will send you that gift card to your email today. I do want to talk about a couple of other announcements, reminding you again that you can watch the replay of this session on YouTube. Just go to our YouTube channel. We'll have a QR code coming up soon with that. Our next webinar is scheduled for May 29th. We get a little break this month. So, and that will be featuring the experts from the storage group. We're going to be talking about marketing and SEO. Also very important. We spoke a little bit about that today. And we have the Mid-Atlantic Self-Storage Show coming up in May. That is May 20th and 21st. And you can find the team SBOA at booth number 406. I think you will find all of the ladies that were here today or their companies represented at that show as well. You can also connect with the SBOA Insurance Services at the CSSA, that's the California Self-Storage Association in Napa. That's May 19th and 20th. Nate Trone from Insurance Services will be there. He works with Erika, who we met today. And I also want to just talk about mystery shopping a little bit, because Sarah Beth did mention that a lot today. We heard about it a lot. SBOA does offer some great mystery shopping services. So we're going to end the presentation today with a video that shows an actual mystery shop in process. And you can find out more information about that. So have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I know it was an extra long session, but I think it was worth hanging out for. We got great information from these ladies. Have a great day, and we will see you on May 29th if we don't see you at the shows before that.
If I were you, let's say you have 5 properties, and you realize, look, I can't staff enough property managers to cover all my hours and not miss opportunities I'm probably going to have in the market. I can't staff enough people to keep all of my tenants happy all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my own business development process here for my properties. I'm going to hire, 2, 3, 4 people to cover, 100 plus hours a week to make sure we're there for them. I'm going to train them. I'm going to write software to be able to talk to my site management system. I'm going to record calls and do quality assurance on them. I'm going to drive my promotional special. I'm going to do all this here in my central office. If I'm you, the very first thing, once I understood the value of that concept, I would look for somebody to do it for me instead of me doing it myself, because I could never make that a profitable venture. It would never pencil. That's why this company exists. We solve that problem. We are your national sales center.